Hello, guys, and welcome to the Queen of Hearts podcast, where we dive into things that inspire us, challenge us, and keep us moving forward. Today, first, I am your host, Queen Leo. If you are new to the podcast, welcome. If you are a returning king or queen, welcome back. Today, we're going to do a little something different. Well, it's not really different. This is like my day-to-day, but this is something new that I'm putting on the podcast. Today, we're diving into the sports world. We're going to recap the current NFL and NBA seasons, just breaking down how the season's going in our opinion and our personal choices for who we think is going to take over the season and win a championship. And then following that, we are going to dive into the first episode of our Queen Leo book club, where we will discuss the first agreement of the 4 agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. So get comfortable, get cozy, and stay tuned. Alrighty, first things first, we're going to dive into the NFL season. Right now it's coming to a close. We're getting ready to pull up on playoffs. And usually when I like to do my recaps, I like to pick 2 teams, usually from 2 different conferences, that are really standout teams to me. This year, or right now so far, the 2 teams standing out to me is the Detroit Lions and the Buffalo Bills. Starting off with the Detroit Lions, they currently have a record of 12-2, and they were on an 11-game win streak before they just lost recently to the actual Buffalo Bills. So they've been doing pretty well for themselves. Jared Goff is an amazing quarterback, throwing on average 268.5 yards per game. Definitely driving the ball and keeping the team scoring offensively. Overall, the team is just a powerhouse team when it comes to their running backs, when it comes to Jahmyr Gibbs. They had Montgomery, but he recently just got injured, so I don't think he's going to be with them on the playoffs, if I'm not mistaken. But prior to his injury, they were an amazing team and definitely taking over offensively for the whole entire season. I mean, an 11-game win streak in itself is crazy. Even when watching the game when they lost to the Bills recently, that game in itself was crazy just because of the score. If I'm not mistaken, I want to say they scored 4, maybe 5 touchdowns, and still it was losing effort. But just the fact that offensively they moved the ball, they scored all these touchdowns and still couldn't complete the job is crazy, and that kind of shows you where the Buffalo Bills are, and that's why they're my number 2 team. Their quarterback Josh Allen actually on average is throwing 258 yards, with them winning the last 8 of their last 10 games, and they currently hold a record of 11-3 in the league. And them themselves are also been dominating offensively. Those are the 2 teams I see every Sunday, every week, really playing their hearts out, running the ball, scoring the ball, and making a difference in the league, and probably going as far as the Super Bowl as I can see. Most people might wonder why the Chiefs weren't one of my top 2 teams, but right now the Chiefs aren't playing like a top 2 team. They're not dominating. If you're a team and you are a powerhouse like the Lions, like the Bills, you're dominating. You're winning in excess of 10 points or more. But recently, more often, the Chiefs are winning by a field goal. Not even that. So, it's just right now they're not playing like a top 2 team. They're playing like a great team. They could probably make it to the Super Bowl just because of the roster that they have. But as far as their playing efforts, they're not playing like a top 2 team this season. So they didn't make it to the top 2 on the Queens list this season. When it comes to an offensive player, one individual player of the so far of the season, right now, I have it at a 2-way tie with Jamar Nelson from the Bengals and Saquon Barkley from Philadelphia. Barkley right now leads the rushings and yards with 1,688 yards. He also leads the league in carries at 285. So currently he's been taking over when Philly plays. Most of the time you see him running the ball, getting a lot of yards. Right now he has 11 touchdowns. He's tied at 7th in the 7th in the league. But he's still making a dramatic difference for Philly. They're winning a lot of games. He's scoring a lot of points, and he's keeping them ahead of the opposition as they go through their games this season. And then, like I said, from Cincinnati, we have Jamar Chase. Right now, he is leading the league in yards as a receiver with 1,413 yards. He is leading the league in receptions with 102. He also leads the league in touchdowns for a wide receiver with 15. So him and the wide receiver place and Saquon Barkley and the running back have really been dominating this season and taking over football. So they have earned these spots for offensive players of the year. As far as the offensive team of the year, like I said earlier, it would go to the Buffalo Bills just because they have been dominating more than Detroit. In one game, Josh Allen, the quarterback for the Bills, had a passing touchdown, a rushing touchdown, and a touchdown himself. So he scored all over. The team itself scored in every way possible. So when it comes to offense, they are definitely taking over in the league. And that's why they are the offensive team of the season so far. Going into defense, I would say that the defensive team of the year, this one was kind of tough because I had two choices. It is between the Eagles and the Chargers. Overall, I selected the Eagles just because overall they're only allowing 275 yards on average per team. When they play, like the opponent only gets 275 yards. However, they are allowing their opponents to score 3 more touchdowns in comparison to the Chargers. However, the Chargers do allow more yardage when it comes to defensively. So it kind of depends on how you take it. If you think that a team that allows less yards is more important, then it would be the Eagles. However, if you think a team that allows less touchdowns is more important, it would be the Chargers. The top headlines in the NFL is right now the Chiefs are looking at Patrick Mahomes. He did sustain an injury in their last game. Like I said, they're already winning in the 3-point margin. So this injury kind of shakes things up, seeing that the playoffs and the Super Bowl is right around the corner. So their next moves and how they move with starting him or even playing him for the next few games is in question. And as far as the playoffs go, if it was up to me, right now I'll just call it, it's looking like the Lions are going to win. It's still too soon to call what the playoff picture might look like, but I know for a fact the Lions will be in it. The Bills, more than likely, but there is always that chance where something can happen. Like I said, they were 8-2 in their last 10. Then they lost to the Chargers, and they lost to, I want to say, the Texans was the other team. So that is something to keep in mind. So them and their stance, even though they are a great team and they do perform offensively, there's always that chance that they may not make it. So that's something to look for in the playoffs. We do also have 2 games coming on Christmas. It is the Chiefs and they're on Netflix, which is crazy. The Chiefs and the Steelers, and then we have the Ravens and the Texans. These are going to be pretty good games. I'm probably going to speak on this a little bit more as we get closer to that Christmas game. But right now, if I had to choose my choices between the Chiefs and the Steelers, I would say the Chiefs. The Steelers may win just on the offset that Mahomes does not play. It does definitely give the Steelers a chance to perform a little bit more. So there's always a chance if he doesn't play that they may lose to the Steelers. But right now I'm going to say the Steelers. And then we have the Houston and the Ravens. CJ Stroud's been looking a little sometimesy recently, so it's kind of hard to gauge it. And Lamar Jackson and the Ravens are trying to bounce back and finish strong. I would probably say the Ravens. But who knows? The Texans could come out and they could pull off an upset. Speaking of upset, let's see if they have the spread out. Who's favored to win between the two? Oh, they don't have it just yet. It goes up to Monday. Let me see if I can see it on ESPN. Because I don't know. I say the Ravens. But anything is possible. Anything. Let's see here. Wednesday. Okay, they don't have anything yet. But as of right now on ESPN, they have the Ravens 61.8% chance of winning. So, like I was saying, it's definitely looking like Baltimore might pull it off. But when it comes to any sport, basketball, anything, football, anything is probable. But yeah, I would definitely see the Ravens pulling it off on Christmas. So we'll stay tuned. They will be showing those on Netflix. So I'm definitely excited to see that. We'll see if they even play. Because the last time Netflix played something, they did the Mike Tyson and Jake Paul fight on Netflix, and watching that was a fight in itself, trying to get it to play. So we shall see how Christmas goes. And Beyonce is supposed to perform. I expect Netflix to crash all day. Before the games, during the games, after the games, the day before Christmas, the day after Christmas. Just a total server malfunction. I see it coming because it's too many things, too many American classics going on one thing. I just see it just going downhill, but we'll see. But yes, those are my NFL predictions. Now let's go into basketball, the association. All right, and we're going to break it up into two different sections. We're going to talk about the Eastern Conference, and then we're going to get into the West. So now first, the East. Right now, I'm going to do players that are standing out to me instead of teams when it comes to basketball, just because, well, I guess I could do teams too, in a sense. In the East, two players that are standing out to me is going to be Giannis, Greek Freak, and Trae Young. Giannis from the Milwaukee Bucks and Trae Young from the Atlanta Hawks. I picked these two just because, to be quite honest, when it comes to the sport in the Eastern Conference, they are dominating in their own way. When it comes to Trae Young, he's a point guard, and this season I can say that he is definitely playing like a true point guard. Right now he leads the league in assists with 12.2. He's averaging 12.2 assists. And on top of that, he leads his team not only in assists, but he leads them in points. Just to give you a rundown of his last 5 games, when it comes to points and assists, he was 23 and 16, 35 and 10, 22 and 11, 15 and 10, and then 31 and 20, and that's in that overtime game. One thing I could say is, for one, he's averaging a double-double, and two, he's really out there playing good basketball, and it shows with the team succeeding in the East, and it shows with them getting far. Now, they did not win the NBA Cup, but they did make it far. I don't know how they split up the brackets, because I was going to say East and West, but I don't even know how they truly do it. But pretty much he made it to I think it's the semifinals. And They are, I could really say the Heat, not the Heat, but the Hawks have really improved as a basketball team. They have a very young team. They have Dyson Daniels, and they have it's another one over there that is balling. I want to say it's a Johnson, but it's a very young team over there, young core, and they really are putting forth that effort to go out there and play the game. And Trae Young is really coming out like a leader. Yes. Yes. Jalen Johnson. I wanted to say Jalen Johnson, but there's so many J's. I didn't want to mess it up. But yeah, Jalen Johnson and Dyson Daniels are really showing out for the Hawks right now. And it's really because of Trae Young. It's really because they have a point guard that's able to facilitate them the ball and set up shots for them to make plays. But at the same time, he's able to score his own points and lead his team and show them how to be a good player. So I definitely said that Trae Young would be one of my players of the month when it comes to the Eastern Conference, because he's really allowing that young core to shine and just really grow. And when you have a team like that and you're able to set the stage for them to get better at their craft, that's all they're going to do is get better at their craft. That's all they're going to do is play and prove themselves night in and night out. And it's just going to grow. That basketball IQ, that talent is just going to grow in them as they continue through the league. So it's really setting up a good core for a great situation in the Hawks organization. So I'm very pleased with what I see, and I'm excited to see where they go with this. They're not too far up in the standings right now. The Hawks are the 7th seed in the East. So, I mean, they're in the playoff picture if the playoffs were tomorrow. So, that's not bad. But I do see as the season continues, them getting higher up. I do see them ending probably two more spots up, somewhere between 4 and 7, just off the way they're playing ball right now. So one of my players is Trae Young, and like I said, the second one is the Greek freak Giannis over there in Milwaukee. This man is balling. Right now, he's leading the league in points at 32.7. His field goal percentage is at 61%. He's a force out there. When the year started, I first said that KD was giving real MVP picture just because he was balling every night, giving us a good playoff performance every night. But after his injury and the fact that momentum slowed down, someone else had to take over, and it's really been Giannis. In his last 5 games, he's had 26 points, 32 points, 37 points, 34 points, and then 30 points against Boston. And it's consistent. He's giving you consistent points. He's giving you, if not 30, at damn near 30. And he's a force out there. They started off a little weak. The Bucks started off the season 2-8. But recently they have gone on a 13-3 run to get them here or 12-3 run. I'm sorry, and that got them to 14-11 right now. And part of the win is with the NBA Cup, and they actually went and took it all the way to home and won the championship for the NBA Cup. So congratulations to the Milwaukee Bucks. But that is just to show that it was a rough start for that team, but they are bouncing back. They have Damian Lillard, they have Chris Middleton, they have Brook Lopez, Bobby Portis. They have a good team. They won the chip before. Most of the key pieces that were there with the first ring is there. So it's really just them kind of getting back in the groove of being a championship team, and they're making a good case, and he's making a great case for MVP this season. So he's definitely showing out as one of my tops in the East for this season. Now, while Milwaukee and Atlanta are playing good basketball in the Eastern Conference, there are 2 other teams that are showing that they are also playoff contenders, and that is the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Boston Celtics. Now, as much as these 2 teams are pretty much, if anything, they are truly the top dogs right now in the Eastern Conference, I myself cannot give them that credit, because both teams, in my opinion, are not playing like they are the best teams in the Eastern Conference. Boston right now is the defending champions, and they're playing good basketball, consistent basketball. They're on a 13-4 run right now, currently with a record of 21-6. And I mean, it's a great record, fantastic record. And I mean, you have to be playing good ball to achieve things like that. But I feel like for them to be the champions, it should be them dominating. You know, when I think of things like that, I think of the Bulls, I think of the Warriors, I think of the Heat. These teams that claim to be great teams, they played like it. They played seasons where they're dominating all season. And I feel like Boston has a lot of games where it's close. It's a nail biter. They have a lot of games where sometimes they're blowing them out, sometimes they're not. They have a lot of games where their core team is not showing up consistently, and I feel like that's what stops them. Like, yes, you're getting the win. That's great. You know, it's all about the dub. It's all about the chips. But are you guys playing great basketball? Are you guys playing like a championship team? And it goes back to, like I said, with the Chiefs. Yeah, you're a great team. Yes, you win championships. But are you guys playing like it? Because you're winning by a field goal. You get what I'm saying? So it's like, if you're going to be that great of a team, you have to come out night in and night day, every day, and play like it. So Boston they just don't. I feel like they are very stagnant, complacent. So they don't really get that. I'll never give them that one up. I have to see greatness from them to really put them on the map as the top team in the East. Same thing with Cleveland. Cleveland came to a great start. I think they got to like 15, maybe 16, and then they got to Boston, and they lost. And Boston gave them their first L of the season. Them two on a 13-4 run. They're staying stagnant, at the number one seed in the East, and they're keeping their position there. I will give them that, but they do have teams, like I said, like Atlanta, like Milwaukee, that are closing in as the season goes through. They are gonna reach for those spots. You have teams like the Knicks. When Paolo comes back for Orlando, you will have teams like the Magic fighting and coming up to get those number 1 and 2 spots. And if you are Boston or if you're Cleveland, you have to dominate, just because the playing field in the East is so easy to get to the number 1 spot compared to the West. It's harder to get there in the West. There's people that have better records than people in the East, but they're in the West, so they're a lower seed, So I feel like if you're in the East, you should be dominating at a point where other teams cannot catch up. If like, for example, Cleveland, you have to be playing at a level where these teams are trying to catch you. They should be multiple games behind. They shouldn't be 2 games behind, 4 games behind. There should be a healthy length. Because as the season continues and they get in those other teams, they get in those pockets in their schedules where they play those easy teams, they're going to catch up. They're going to get those dubs and they're going to catch up to you. So I'm very excited to see how it goes in the East, because it can switch up. It's night and day in the East. So that'll be fun to see as the season progresses. But as of right now, those are my top 2. Moving on to the West. Most people would think I'd say OKC and SGA. Nah, they didn't do it for me. They're not doing it for me right now. My top 2 in the West is going to be Ja Morant and Luka. OKC missed out simply because not only did they lose the NBA Cup, but they allowed Milwaukee to come and shut them down. They held SGA to 19 points. I think he ended out with like 21, but for most of the game, they held him to 19 points. And that's great defense coming from Milwaukee. And it just shows that as a young team, OKC is they're not there yet. Like, they're playing good basketball. They're able to reach good opportunities, but they're not closers yet. They don't have that experience to close out an important game. And that's pretty much what the Cup showed, because you have the young OKC against vets that have won a championship. And you see how it ended out. Milwaukee took the lead and took the game. So OKC didn't make it this time. I picked Luka just because he is, when he's healthy and he's playing, because he's had a lot of injuries so far. But when he's playing, he is really a powerhouse. He's currently leading his team in points, rebounds, assists, and steals. As far as points, he's at 28.9. Walk-in 20 piece. Luka's a walk-in 20 piece, and he's giving it to us consistently, and he's helping keep Dallas in a good place as they're trying to take it up in the West. I also picked John Morant just because silently Memphis is sneaking up on us. Currently, I think they're second in the West, 19-9, and that's what I'm saying. Like, they're 19-9, they're second in the West. You have teams like Boston that's 21-6, and they're second. It's like basically what I'm saying. Like, do you see how the difference, the discrepancy in the record, just because the West is so much harder. But yes, Memphis is they're silently gaining up on us. Right now, John Morant and Jaren Jackson Jr., I want to say, is leading their team in points, both averaging 21 points a game. And right now they're on an 8-2 run in their last 10 games. No one's really been looking at Memphis. We've been paying attention, to OKC. We've been watching Dallas, paying attention to Phoenix when it comes to KD. And pretty much seeing like all the other teams, even the Clippers for a second. Clippers were number, I think, 3 or 2 at one point for a while. So we've been looking at a lot of teams, but Memphis has slowly been staying consistent and just creeping their way up in the West. So they're definitely something to look at. And it's crazy because when it comes to the West, pretty much every conference, East and West, it's a lot of young teams with a young core that's really dominating the season and leading their conferences, and it's good to see the basketball evolving to these new players. So as we get closer in the season, I like to see what people like SGA do as the year keeps going, as Anthony Edwards continues, all these young players, see how they go, because I see this being a very surprising season. We had a lot of expectations for our older teams like Denver and the Lakers, but they have been struggling as of recent. Lakers just really plagued with injuries. You have, Anthony Davis, LeBron, just the foundation not able to keep consistency and not able to play good basketball, and it's affecting them tremendously. Right now they sit in the West as the 7th seed at 15-12. So it's very interesting. That's what I'm trying to say. It's a great example. They're 15 and 12. They're number 7. Milwaukee's 14 and 11, and I think they are 5. So I'm like, it's harder. It's harder in the West. So I feel like in the East you should be dominating. But yes, like I said, the Lakers, they're sitting at the 7th seed, and they're trying to keep up. They're trying to keep a great momentum going as they continue through the season, but we just aren't quite. I don't know what we're quite going to see from them as they keep going. It's not. I feel like if you don't come out with a season that's like a shocking season, it's just going to be very stagnant. So we're going to see how that plays out. And then teams, like I said, like Denver, they're struggling. Right now they're 14-11. And in their last 15, they are 7-8. So this is a different team. And it's crazy because as they're playing these games and they're winning and they're losing, Joker is still balling, putting up points, really showing, MVP, champion caliber basketball, still playing, but it's just something's going on with the Nuggets. They're just underperforming. So as the season continues, we'll keep an eye on them just to see where they go. But right now, my top 2 are going to be Memphis and Dallas in the Western Conference. This season has been very interesting so far as the injuries, um, the surprising games, the surprising point spreads, the surprising stat lines. Just overall, the basketball season and the football season are just, I don't think these are two seasons we expected to play out the way they're playing out. Um, but we're just going to see how it goes and how it continues to unfold in these coming months. I'll probably do a second episode about sports towards the end of the month going into the new year. So stay tuned for that. We are going to go to a quick commercial break. And when we come back, we're going to tap into our Qween Leo book club.
Okay, hello, I'm Ayo, I'm a simple man. I'm trying to take over the world, I got simple plans. The type that kiss it while I eat it, I'm a gentleman. If the conversation be sex, then I'm a symbol man. It's so pathetic, they jealous, bruh. Acting up Angelica, ain't never heard of ya, but now I'm on your ass like Ethicus. Warm, hard, bricked up, high like my lettuce. I'm tall, fine, dark skin, all these bitches fetish. Left on red, nigga, cause you ugly.
Alrighty, welcome back. And we are going to jump into our second topic today, which is the first episode of our December book club. The book for the month is The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz, and it is just a book about practical wisdom and personal freedom, and I'm super excited to dive into it with you today. For our readings today, we were supposed to read The First Agreement. So first agreement in the book is to be impeccable with your word. Now, in the book, before you get to the agreements, it does start off with a couple intros. Pretty much the premise of the book. It discusses how we come into the world. You know, we're born, we are with our families, and we grow to be members of society. As we grow to be domesticated members of society, our parents, our families, people close to home, they implement morals, values, and ethics into us on how to move through our day-to-days. With dealing with this, it basically is them instilling into us how to be. But most of the things they told us, most of the things we've learned growing up, most of the things we've discovered is stuff that we don't really like or interested in. It's stuff that just was put upon us because that's what we were accustomed to. That's what we were in. So we adapted to it. But it's not really us. It's not really our values. It's not really our morals, our ethics. No, it's our grandmothers, or it's our aunties, or it's our cousins, or it's our uncles, or it's our little sisters. But some of the aspects and ideologies that we get throughout life are not the ones that we create ourselves. So basically the book just says, if you break down life to these four simple agreements that are very vague, that are very adjustable for everyone, somewhat generic, you will perform better, and you will know you better, and you will be more able to live your truth and step into your skin. So that's how the book first starts off. It kind of intros you into that discussion, and then it brings you to the first agreement, which is, like I said, be impeccable with your word. Period. Point blank. Your word is powerful. It's a lot of manifestation. It's a lot of strength. It's a lot of energy behind words that you speak when it comes to anything in life. So the first agreement tells you to be impeccable with your word. And the word impeccable pretty much means without sin. So when you speak with impeccable with your word, you have to say what you mean. You have to avoid using words to harm yourself or others, and you have to speak overall with integrity. Your word is powerful, you know, like men say to other men, like your word is bond, like word is bond, like how they say up north, word is bond, and it shapes you, it shapes your reality. So whenever you're speaking to anybody, whenever you step out and you open your mouth, you have to make sure that you are speaking truthfully, you are speaking strongly, passionately, confidently, and you back it up 110,000,000%. when it comes to speaking to others, you have to keep yourself from speaking negatively. You have to keep yourself from speaking harmfully. You can't disrespect people. You can't talk to people crazy. I myself have a personal issue with this myself. I will state that for a fact. I don't talk to people crazy, but like when I'm mad, like I can't help myself. I really can't. If you get me angry, I'm liable not to say anything, but I'm want to cut. I'm gonna want to do my big one. I'm make you feel some type of way. You feel what I'm saying? And that is something I need to work on. I gotta work on calming down. I gotta work on not doing that and being so rah rah rah. Like I gotta chill. I know this. But it's not good. It's not good to sit and talk crazy about others, to talk harmful to others. You have to talk to with people with respect. I came from a relationship where I was verbally abused often. I dealt with a man that talked to me crazy, that would tell me I was not shit, that I was never going to be shit. I wouldn't amount to anything. No one would love me. No one would care for me. I'm just a nothing. I'm pathetic. I'm all these things, and it shaped me. Like, people don't understand how strong your words are. Those moments when he would talk crazy to me shaped me. It made me really feel like I was this down bad person. Like I was this ugly duckling. So, like, you have to really watch what you say and be mindful when you talk to people, because you never know how people are going to take it. You never know how people are feeling, how they're going to respond to it. When it comes to your word is magical. Your word is like, it's powerful. Like, people don't understand the fact of speaking. Like, think about it in a general sense. What other animal on the earth speaks? Take a moment. What other animal speaks? Like, yes, birds will repeat, but who are they repeating? Humans. They have to hear a human to repeat it. They don't just have a voice and talk off the rip. Like, no, they have to repeat it. They have to learn it from somewhere. But off the rip, what animal talks? We are the only mammal that talks. Like, you have to understand, like, how powerful our word is. You have to understand how powerful it is to speak. So when you open your mouth and you use your words, you have to watch what you say. You have to. As I was reading this book and I was getting through this chapter, it made me really want to change how I speak to people, because I thought about that in an honest manner. Like, what other thing speaks clearly, like communicates? Like, no one else has this luxury. Like, we take speaking for granted. I don't think people notice that. Like, our word is powerful. We take it for granted. And we can't misuse it. We can't misuse our word at all. People don't understand. Like, for example, a terrible example of how powerful the word is, how powerful the tongue is. Adolf Hitler changed the world. Adolf Hitler changed the world off of his word, off of getting on a podium and spewing foul, discriminatory things to crowds of people, and they believed it. They fell for it, and they turned around and did some outlandish, crazy shit that has shifted history. So it's like that, and that was just off the power of the word, like him motivating people and captivating people with just the speech. Like, we have to sit there and understand, like, when it comes to our wordplay, when it comes to our tongue, we are magicians, and our word is a magical thing that we possess. And we can use it for good magic, or we can use it for bad magic. The question is all for you. Like I said, be impeccable with your word means to be without sin. So you have to be without sin. You cannot practice bad magic with your word. It will not end out well. It will not. And that's just off simple basics. You have to take your time, you have to take your energy, and you have to use your word in the direction of truth, and you have to use it in the direction of love. I have an issue with the truth part. I do tend to lie a lot. I've been told I am a compulsive liar, and I believe it. From past times being with other relationships, I had develop the skill of lying on the drop of a dime. Don't have to lie. Don't know why I'm lying, but I'm going to lie. Just because I don't want you to have that one up on me. I never wanted him to have that one up on me. I never want him to know exactly where I was going, exactly where I was, exactly who I was with, when I was coming home. I never wanted him to have that one up on me because I didn't feel safe with him having that information. I didn't feel safe with him having that over me. So off the drop of a dime, I'm lying. You're never going to get the one up on me. You're never going to get the jig up on me, like ever. So it's like I kind of have adapted that. So after reading this chapter, this is something I really want to work on. I really want to work on getting out of that habit because it's a terrible habit. Like one time my boyfriend, I walked up to him and he asked me the simplest question off the rip. Asked me it. And instantly, in a matter of 5 seconds, I lied. But then I caught myself, and in a matter of like 5 more seconds, I apologized and I answered it truthfully. But I caught myself because it was like, Kanisha, why did you just sit up here and lie like that? You feel what I'm saying? So I really had to like really take it in and really work on it. Like I have to really be better about it because like I said, my word is powerful. Like I tell myself every time I manifest Qween because it's like I put something together, I visualize it, and it comes true. It comes to fruition. It happens. You feel what I'm saying? So it's like me knowing that about my word, me knowing how powerful my word is, I cannot sit here and abuse it any longer. You know? So after this, I was like, yes, I have to really do better. I have to really, really, really do better with myself. I really have to work on thinking before I speak. I have to really remember where I'm at in life now, and remember I don't have to lie about everything. Get back into better habits because your word's bond, your word's powerful. So yes, definitely be impeccable with your word. When it comes to yourself, like be impeccable with your word with others when you go out in the world, but even when it comes to like internally, being impeccable with yourself, like you have to speak to yourself with integrity. You have to speak to yourself with good vibes and good energy. You can't spew hate, even self-hate. You know what I mean? So speaking good word goes hand in hand with personal empowerment, and it comes together with self-respect. The words you spew out of your mouth when it comes to yourself, those are very important words because if you speak nothing but good things about yourself, if you bring nothing but good energy and good vibes, it'll do nothing but benefit you in a good way. People don't understand, but you manifest your intentions and your intent through the word, through what comes out of your mouth. So if you want to do something, if you push and promote and you make that your mission, that like, I'm going to do this thing, I'm going to put in the energy, I'm going to do this, or I'm going to put in the energy, I'm going to look like this, or I'm going to put in the energy to have nice things, to have this, like whatever you speak on when it comes to you, yourself, and your livelihood, you manifest that, you know. So you always have to speak well and speak good intentions on yourself so you can have good results. Because the moment you start doubting yourself, the moment you start thinking terribly or thinking negatively, it's only going to bring negative outcomes. It's only going to bring negative emotions or negative feelings, which will then cause you to produce negative results. So people don't understand the power that comes into the stuff they speak and the words they speak, and it's one of the most simplest things. Like we open our mouth and we talk almost every day, and we don't really grasp the severity of the privilege that we have, that is speaking, that is talking, that is communicating with words, through words, to clearly get our points across. Like there's a lot of different species that can't do that necessarily. There's so we have to understand, like as humans, that our word is powerful, and we can't spend our time on earth pushing negative energy or spewing negative words or projecting negative vibes on other people. It's not productive. It's not going to do you well in the long run. And that's pretty much what the chapter was saying. Like, you have to be impeccable with your word. And if you think about it in like the grand scheme of things, think about if you, like I said, if you speak ill on a person, if you burn bridges, if you do things like that when it comes to your word, it'll affect your life and your decisions and your movements in the long run. That's why people always say, like, talk to the janitor, talk to the CEO, talk to the mailman, all the same way, because you never know who you're speaking to. You never know who your words are going to reach, who they're going to travel to. So you just always have to be mindful of that. I feel like that's what the main concept of the first agreement is. Be mindful of your words, because they mean so much, and they hold so much power, and you have so much strength when it comes to just the dialogue aspect of life. You have to not only mean what you say and say what you mean, but you also can't say it mean. You can't belittle anybody. You can't be derogatory towards anyone. Be kind. I try my best to speak kindly and be kind to everyone, because I know that communication within all the people, like you, like I said in a different episode, there's 7 billion people in the world, so communication is key. So it's like you really want to make sure that you are when you step out and you converse with people and you talk, you're being positive and you're spewing positive thoughts. It's not even spew when you say positive things. You're projecting positive thoughts. It was funny because I was talking to my manager at my job the other day, and I was just telling them how I just felt like I was being overlooked, and I felt like people didn't understand or see all the hard work I put in there at the job. And he let me know, like, no, we say it all the time, you're one of the best employees we have, and you always have a positive attitude every time you come in. Like, I try my best. I always try my best to have a positive attitude until it goes left, and then I'm sourpuss. But I always try my best to have a positive attitude. I always try my best to speak positive with everyone, have a smile on my face, just make people's day, because you just never know. Like, you never know what your words could do to someone. You could either make their day, you could break their day. So I try my best to just not be the icing on the cake, or the straw that broke the camel's back. I try not to be that for people. So I always understand, like, my words are powerful, and you never really understand. Another thing that comes into being impeccable with your word, like I said, is being truthful. The truth is the most important part of being impeccable, because, like I said, impeccable is without sin. Telling the truth is talking without sin. You're not lying, you're not withholding, you're not omitting. You're being truthful, you're being honest, you're being open. So that's in itself the essence of being impeccable. So you always have to try your best to be honest. I feel like people who live honest lifestyles live the best lifestyles. They live healthy, peaceful, serene lifestyles, because they're always honest. You know, they don't have to spend their time keeping track of 80 million lies. They don't have to spend their time keeping track of 80 million lives that they're living. So just being in your truth, I feel like, is the most peaceful way to go. So I feel like everyone should try to promote, like, being peaceful and trying to achieve ultimate peace. And to do that, you just have to be honest. And that's basically what the book was saying. It was like, you have to want to promote being truthful. When you start lying, you're always lying all the time, you're never really at peace, because you're constantly thinking, like, oh, if I get caught in this lie, I have to say this. If this lie gets caught, I have to say this. Like, you're always trying to plan 8 steps ahead, because in case you get caught in your lie. So if you're impeccable with your words, you don't have to worry about that. You could then focus your energy on other things. And it's funny, because as I break this down, like, you can see why, like I said, these are the 4 agreements, because these are agreements you should follow to live a productive life, and each one of them affects you in a certain type of way. Like, if you're impeccable with your word, you become a trustworthy individual, and people will deal with you in the future, or as far as business, social, like anything, people will deal with you because you're a very trustworthy person. If you're honest, if you're kind, like, people will want to be around you and gravitate towards you because you're a kind soul. And people, like, you'll be surprised how many people look into people for their kindness. Like, you could meet someone and be so kind to them, make their day, and they could see that and be like, oh, I need to hire her at my job, or oh, I want to do this. Like, in my line of work, sometimes people tip me extra because I'm just such a kind person and I make their day, or I was very peaceful with them, or I was very polite with them and nice with them, and I wasn't nasty. These things go noticed in society. So for you to address them and to notice, like, your word means a lot. It's a very, very valuable currency in this world, is your word. When you realize that and you move like that, your life will go on an upwards trajectory in all aspects. And that's why it's like, these 4 agreements are the basics they're like the foundation to a successful life. And that's the thing. Once you understand how powerful the word is and what it can do, you then move differently, and you have to see the strength within yourself and see the strength within your word in order to know that you have that power. People don't understand, like I said, people don't understand the power they have in their words, but that's because they don't see it that way. You really have to see it. And I always, like the book was saying, you have to measure your impeccability in your word by your self-worth. If you care about yourself, if you want yourself to be successful, if you want nice things for yourself, like if you want positive things for yourself, your word will exude that. It will just reek out of your pores, just a level of success and confidence and ambition and success ultimately. So you have to, your word is your bond. Word's bond, yo. And that was pretty much what the first agreement was getting at. Like, you have to really stand on business when it comes to your word. Yes. So after reading agreement 1, the discussion question for this week is, how do the words we speak to ourselves and others shape our reality? And what steps can we take to align our words with positivity and truth? Okay, so for starters, how do the words we speak to ourselves and others shape our reality? Like, as I stated before, the words that we speak to ourselves, they set the standard for how we're going to treat ourselves. They set the standard for how we're going to move when it comes to us. If we're going to stand on business about us, if we're going to be intentional with our actions, if we're going to strive and try to be successful and ambitious, our words will determine that. If you wake up in the morning and you're not thinking or you're not speaking on how successful you're going to be or how you're going to prosper today more than you prospered the day before, then you're not using your words effectively. You're not being intentional with your movements and your steps in life. And how can we align our words with positivity and truth when it comes to ourselves? We can align our words with positivity and truth by speaking positive affirmations, taking away negative thoughts. I know sometimes it's hard for us. Sometimes we have those moments where we have terrible thoughts, and it's just kind of like our spirits are down. When we have moments like that, we just kind of really gotta get ourselves out of those grooves and get ourselves out of the funk and put ourselves in a groove where we are in a better headspace and a better spirit. One thing I like to do, I'm big on sticky notes. I'm big on sticky notes everywhere. So with me, I tend to write down like little memos to myself, little slogans or quotes to myself, and I'll stick them up everywhere. I got it from Being Mary Jane, the TV show on BET with Gabrielle Union. The main character, Mary Jane, she would always put sticky notes everywhere. And it could be a Bible verse. It could be a quote. It could be an affirmation. It was just anything to kind of like motivate her that day. She would have them all over. Some of them were even like reminders. But I'm big on sticky notes, so I'll put sticky notes everywhere with like positive affirmations, words of encouragement, things of that. So like when I do see them, they brighten my day and they push me to go forward. As far as like aligning aligning truth when it comes to speaking on ourselves, we have to accept ourselves. No matter how we come, no matter how we look, no matter how we act, no matter how we are, we have to first accept ourselves. Accept who we are, and this is what it is. If you don't like something about yourself, change it. If you love something about yourself, promote it, showcase it. Make it something that you celebrate. Don't look down on yourself poorly. Don't push yourself down. Don't do all that because you might not look the way you want to look, or you might not have the life or the success that you want to have. Don't beat yourself up about it. Just tighten up, strap up your boots, and work towards being the person you want to be. And that's why this book is big. It's perfect for the season that we're in with the Genesis and the new beginning, because it helps you set that foundation from how you want to be come 2025. You want to take these 4 agreements and you want to positively use them so you can be successful, be great, be the person that you've always wanted to be the person you dreamed of being. So this book goes hand in hand with that theme, because it sets you up for how you should move to be better than the person you are now. And the whole point of that, the whole grand scheme of that, is living in your truth. You have to accept who you are and what you want to be and what you want to do. You have to first accept all of that. You have to really take that time and be like, what do you want? Once you're truthful with yourself and what you want, and you're ready to live in your truth, you speak yourself into your truth. You use those words, you use those affirmations, you use those moments to meditate and put yourself in a positive headspace. And when you're in that positive headspace, you are able to better manifest what you want. You're able to better manifest and work towards what you want to achieve in life. So it's all about positivity. It's all about living in your truth. And that's why this is key, really, to really setting the foundation to what you want to do in life, because everything starts with your mindset. Everything starts with what you speak. Everything starts with what you believe. So you have to really put that on the right mind frame and put that all on the right track in order to be successful in your day-to-day life. And how to better align yourself and your words with positivity and with truth is to speak in your truth, live in your truth. Don't find needs to lie. Don't find reasons to lie. One thing I have to work on, I do have a habit of, like I said, being a compulsive liar. So I have to work on that. I have to put forth the energy to change that about myself. And I need to start working on being more intentional with my words and being more truthful with my words, being more open. Because when I lie to other people, I lie to myself. And lying all comes from not living in your truth and not believing in yourself. So I have to really work on myself to kind of change those mannerisms and those actions and better work towards being a positive, truthful person. And you just have to just stay away from speaking negatively about things. Stay away from things that cause you to change your mindset or change your attitude and put you in a down place where you have to talk down on things, or it puts you in a negative headspace where you think negatively about situations. So it's all about, when it comes to aligning your words with positivity and truth, it's all about surrounding you yourself with positivity and truth. That way you're able to create healthier relationships and just communicate better all in all with people. One question I want to leave with the kingdom today as we come to a close on the topic is, how do you think your words impact your life? Comment below and let me know. And let's start a discussion about it. How do you think your words impact your life? And are there any areas where you can be more mindful about your language? Thank you guys again for tuning in to today's episode. We dived into the sports world, talking about the NFL and the NBA seasons. And then we transitioned over to our first episode of Queen Leo's Book Club, where we talked about the first agreement and the Four Agreements book. The next episode we have on the book club, we will discuss the second agreement. So definitely stay tuned for that. Thank you guys so much for tuning in today. Again, like I said, guys, the first agreement, it's all about creating power and freedom through your words. So just imagine your life if you just embrace that mindset every day. Just no negativity, just powerful words, positive words, truthful words, and see the life it can help you create, because it could help you create the life you deserve. Definitely stay tuned as we dive more into the book itself. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe at queenleo.shop. If you scroll all the way to the bottom on queenleo.shop, it does have all of my social media platforms listed. So definitely go on there and follow me on each and every one of those so you can stay updated with the Queen and the Kingdom. Definitely stay tuned for our next episode where we deal with cheating, relationships, and women. Again, thank you guys for tuning into the Queen of Hearts podcast, and I will see you later.